Hello and welcome to my course AngularJS Component-Based Design. This is going to be a series of videos where I walk you through the basics of setting up an AngularJS application using component-based design and then lazy loading those components to your client for optimization. But in this first video, we're just going to set up a simple Hello World application using AngularJS and Webpack. Since this is the Node-based project, we're going to need to download Node. I'm going to leave it up to you to get that installed, and then once you're ready, fire up a command prompt. Create an empty directory and then initialize your project by entering npm init. This will create a package.json file for our project. It's going to ask you some basic information. You can accept the defaults right here and then click OK at the bottom. Now let's clean this up a little bit and see if our file got created. And you can see here that we've created it. So now let's open this up in our favorite code editor and see what's been created. And as you can see, our package.json file was created, and inside of this file there's some metadata about our project, such as name, version, and then some functional metadata like the main tags and script tags that allow us to do cool things like run aliases inside npm and to tell Node where the starting part of our project is. So now let's go install our dependencies. I'm going to clean up my terminal here, and then I'm going to paste in a command. And this is the npm install for our dev dependencies. This is Webpack, Webpack CLI, the HTML Webpack plugin, and Webpack dev server. These plugins will allow us to run Webpack for our project, which will give us a packaging mechanism for our JavaScript, including the HTML, and also a practice server for us to run our application against. We will also need to install Angular. And then once that finishes downloading, we will clear everything up. And let's take a look at our package.json file and see the dev dependencies were installed and also the normal dependencies, which will be included with our production build. So let's switch back to our command prompt here and let's create a new file called webpack.config.js. And then swap back to our editor, and let's go in and paste in some text here. And let's talk about what this code is doing right here. On the first line, you can see that we're importing the path library. This will give us access to our local file system. The second line imports the HTML Webpack plugin, which we will discuss here in a moment. And as we look at the module.exports object, we can see that we are declaring the mode, the entry point for the Webpack application, the output for the libraries and the compiled application, the plugins, which we will now talk about the HTML Webpack plugin. This is where we configure our template, which will be our HTML template that we use for ultimately outputting the production HTML template, and then some information about the dev server, including the public path and where the files can be found. Now let's implement our entry point and template HTML. Let's switch back to our terminal here and let's create a new index.js file and then a new index.html file. And as we open up our code editor, let's open up our index.js file. And I'm going to paste in some code here. This code imports our AngularJS library and then registers a new module with Angular called Angular Component Demo. Then we add a simple sample controller to our new module, and inside of the controller function we assign the scope property message with the text Hello World. Next, I'm going to go to my index.html file and I'm going to paste in some code. And all this code does is tell Angular where our module is located, what controller to use, and to simply tell the user the value for the property message on the scope. The last thing we're going to do is set up some aliases that make it easier for us to build and run the project. I'm going to replace the test tag in here with the build and start tags, which allow us to build and run our web app respectively. Next, we switch back to our terminal, clean things up, and then do an npm run build command, which will do a build command for our project. And then we will run the start command, npm run start, to run our web page. And as you can see, we have a hello world loaded.